The founders forgot that we had medical liberty.
We seem to be losing by taking the side of the middle. And we seem to constantly be losing.
I think Trump has made some kind of arrangements with Russia.
This person has made the allegations that they were a man.
If there's content that's borderline, that's content that we basically will not.
There is no second best. There's no second best crypto asset.
Let's talk about science.
I respect you, and I have a great deal of appreciation to you, JF, because in a time when everybody was attacking me, when Sargon doxed me and smeared me, you were the only one who gave me a platform, and you were very kind in helping me put the truth out there.
Hello everyone and welcome to Jeff G Tonight. How are you doing, people of the regular chat? Oh my god, it's been a long time, 2 months. About 2 months out of the internet. I produced a new intro for the occasion of my return. I am so glad to be here. The new intro, of course, features the good old The Public Space introduction. And in fact, I talked about the possibility that we could make this show a form of public space, start inviting people on Twitter space, but not for today, but eventually. I've also returned to the outro music from the public space. I think they were much better musics. I abandoned these musics because it was impossible to make a guest show anymore. It had become impossible in the context of censorship. It could be possible to be back to a guest show. We'll see what we do with this. Anyways, the times are dark. The times are dark. Today I will cover, of course, the assassination attempt on Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes, hosted from Chicago, will have to leave because he is not safe anymore. And just like me, the reason I've been off the internet is that I had to move. I had to move away from a bunch of crazies. And I will not tell the full story today. I will not tell the full story of why I was out of the internet, because the full story necessitates more investigation on my side. I'd like to really come out against the people who have lied, the people who have committed crimes against me. But I'll tell you a summary of what happened. I've been targeted for state kidnapping of me and my entire family. There's no other way to phrase it. I've been targeted for illegal, corrupt state kidnapping by a dozen corrupt agents from various branches of governments spanning from Prince Edward Island in Canada, where I used to live. I'm gone now. Thankfully, I'm safe out of there. And the province of Quebec. And they have tried to frame me. They have lied. They have made up false reports. They have made up false evidence. And with the intent of kidnapping me and members of my family. Look, I've been escaping this by thinking one step ahead of them every time. And it's a miracle that I'm here right now. They could have caught me. And so I'm quite traumatized by this whole thing. To have the people who are supposed to care for your safety to turn against you and start making lies, start making up stuff. I was not in a safe place. Now, Prince Edward Island has been a wonderful place with very good people. But a couple of corrupt people there, and a couple of pissed off liberals, and a couple of why-nots who don't want to deal with their own business and want to deal with my business, started inventing pretexts to make the argument that, oh, he's not mentally healthy, or maybe he's not caring for his children correctly. And so they found an excuse because they saw that I had a new girlfriend and that I had a truck of trash in front of my house. And they started a whole cascade of events that led to my persecution in not only Prince Edward Island, but Quebec also, as I was fleeing Prince Edward Island. They started saying, oh, well, he seems unstable. He has a trash truck in his court. And it's like, yeah, you know, there are changes in my life. I have a new girlfriend. There are things I want to throw to the trash. They were in the mindset of, well, he's throwing evidence to the trash. He must have killed Mama JF. So they started this whole snowball that starts from, oh, well, there's a trash truck in his entry. He must be eliminating evidence for Mama JF. He must be crazy. We have to force him into psychiatry, or we have to get his kids to see that they're okay. The whole snowball was allowed and was probably ordered by some corrupt state agents. And the lies were so obvious, and the pretext of this was so obvious that when we arrived to a safe place in Canada, because I'm currently in a safe place with my family, the local police looked at this whole case, and they were getting these pressures from Quebec and from Prince Edward Island to say, hey, go get this guy. He's escaping us. And the local police was like, what has he done? What the f*** has he done? Well, he's got a truck of trash. He's unhinged. The problem is, in Canada, you do not have rights. If you have a trash truck in your court, you can get kidnapped and you can be forced into psychiatry, and your kids can be separated from you until they're 18. That is the state of rights in Canada. Canada is a joke, says I am that guy, Paul. You guys just oppressed a public speaker. I'm just a guy who shares his opinion on the news. You guys forced me out of where I was living. And you guys traumatized me and the people I love. All of this for my public contribution. And it's not random that Styx is getting arrested during the election. Nick Fuentes, assassination attempt yesterday. Our friend Lucas Gage, harassment with pizza calls at his home. And me, forced out of 2 provinces. I am now persona non grata in Prince Edward Island and Quebec. I can never return there. If I return there, I get kidnapped. And thankfully, we found a logical place in Canada where a province that is wonderful, that is conservative, where the local authorities have said, what the fuck are you guys oppressing this guy for? Clearly, it's because of his shows. Clearly, you guys are going after JF for what he said on the show, because none of what you guys have on him justify the means that were thrown to this guy. And just to tell you the extent of it, I have been on the run from provincial teams of SWAT teams that have been running after me across this nation and trying to cause other SWAT teams to run after me. He's got a truck trash. He's got a trash truck. We need to find him. We need to find out what's going on. There is no more rights to privacy in this country, in the provinces of the East. They are f***ed up in the head. This whole story ended up with me at my mom's house, and I had put my family in safety when I came back to Quebec. I had put my family in safety because I knew these SWAT teams were after me. And I end up at my mom's house. They force entry into my mom's house. Some policemen have made up false 911 calls to justify, to give themselves an excuse to force my mom to open the door. They have harassed my family. They have harassed me. All of this. And I came to the SWAT team at some point, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm here. Want to arrest me? I'm here. And they didn't want to arrest me. They were just interested at messing up with my family. See, JF alone is worth nothing to them. Their goal has been from the start to separate me from the people I care for. And holy shit, without any fucking reason. Because these people don't know my family life. They don't know the amount of care I put in being a father and a husband. And they've been doing this also to try to mentally test my new girlfriend. You know how many girlfriends will stay with you as you get pursued by police across the nation? I mean, she stayed by my side, and I thank her so much. And I've gained so much love throughout this whole crazy thing for my girlfriend. And I would give her the award as part of this whole thing. I would give her the award of the KGB Furtivity Level 3. Because holy shit, was she a fun agent to be escaping the state with in Canada. Now, here's the thing. Not every state agent is corrupted. The people who have made up lies and who tried to pull this thing on me, they are a subset. And there are very good people working for the police in Canada, and I am in extremely good terms with them. I'm currently, and I've made up this new Decor, and I had to sell a house, buy another house, buy another land, find a place where I would be politically protected, and I found it. The Decor now, instead of having instead of having the logs to heat up the home that I had on Prince Edward Island, now features a natural gas pipeline. Because I am now in a province of natural gas, production of big oil, everyone has a pickup truck. I feel safe here. And eventually, when I tell you the whole story of what happened, I will be able to reveal where I live. Because I have rights in this province. By being pushed out of these insane liberal places that have persecuted my family, I have found a place where I have rights to due process. And now I'm not scared anymore of the trolls. The trolls are only dangerous when you live in a liberal province, because the trolls can actually make a call to these medical kidnapping team, and they can actually get a medical kidnapping team to believe them, and they can get you in trouble, and they can separate you from your children. So in this province, I have rights, so I don't care anymore. I will be able to tell you guys more about my life, but not now, not today, but I'm just... James says, finally, JF stops his years-long attack on pickup trucks. I have come to love pickup trucks. I will never buy a pickup truck, but holy shit, to be surrounded by males. Because in the end, this whole campaign of persecution that has happened against me for 2 months, this is the first time in my life that I don't have a show in 2 months. That's impossible in JF world. The people who have put this together is a bunch of women. And it's ugly woman from the initial call on the trash, on the track, the truck of trash. And it's ugly woman at the government level trying to say, oh, well, you have a truck of trash. That is worrying. We are worried. We are concerned. Yeah, I've been faced with the departments of concerns. And in the US, in certain states, the Department of Concerns cannot do anything against you. But in Canada, the Department of Concerns can be concerned to they can mess with your life with their concerns forever. So I've been at a trash truck. That's what we had. We were just cleaning the home. And these departments of concern start claiming that I'm crazy. A truck of trash, what is this? It's literally a truck that you call and they come to gather some trash that you had in your house, and you try to get rid of, you try to clean up your house. Now, just like they have accused me on the internet trolls have accused me of cleaning my home after the disappearance of Mama JF. Again, again, I was cleaning my home and there was so much trash to put out that I ordered a specialist service, Just Junk. They are a Canadian company, and they come and they will put all of your trash in their own truck and they get you rid of it. So you don't have to, wait for the weekend or whatever. Yeah, if you live in a liberal state, it's time to flee. Because they will come at you whether you're a celebrity or not. They will pull this kind of things on all males if they can. So yeah, it boils down to a bunch of wine aunts having concerns, a bunch of ugly government workers having concerns, a bunch of police saying, oh, well, they have concerns, so we're concerned now. And it's like, holy hell, why don't you let a free intellectual live free? Like, do you want this as a publicity for Canada, that you can't even think freely in Canada? Thank you so much for those who have supported me, because I wasn't producing shows, and some of you guys have continued paying on Patreon and Subscribestar. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And I see that there are super chats coming in. It was tight financially. I mean, they tried definancializing me by surprising me halfway through my trip. They tried cutting some of the credit cards out of the family credit cards that I had. And it's like, okay, Papa JF, Papa JF is capable of handling some cancellation of credit cards. Papa JF has gold, cash, and bitcoins. But it just sucks that they tried so hard. And it boils down to a bunch of people who ultimately think I'm unstable because I have, because of my shows first, and because I have a private life where I've been having the chance of meeting a wonderful girlfriend who's added so much to our family life. And it's like, I'm not the kind of guy like the average person. If I get a girlfriend, it's a very serious move for me, and I will ensure that it is for her too. So we don't need your concerns. Thank you, provinces of the Canada. We don't need you to be concerned about us. Dindolgevich says, I was worried, 6th JF. Why didn't you call? Oh, well, because I don't have your phone number, Dindolgevich. The only way I know how to talk to you is to make a show. So here I am, back and safe, and it's a miracle that everyone is safe, honestly. When I started this escape, I was like, there's like 5% chance that we'll make it. And somehow the 5% chance has been actualized. We all made it safe. No one got kidnapped. But that close. It was that close. Literally, at some point, I was 5 minutes in advance of the SWAT team. I was driving in one direction in Quebec. They were driving in the other to go harass my mom. Like, you idiot. And they invented a false 911 call. There's so much to tell, so much. Like, you idiot. My mom doesn't know where I am. Because that's how insane my life is, where I hide everything from my loved ones. And so they went to torture my mom with interrogation and, oh, you should talk to us and you should tell where he is. It's like, I lied to my mom because I know how up you guys are. Animus Uprising sends $10. He says, I had thought you left Quebec years ago. It all sounds wild until people see it themselves. No joke, these places on the coast in our countries are the Soviet Union remade. Social credit systems, show trials, guilty until proven innocent. Everyone must flee while they can. Glad your family is safe. Absolutely. And yes, I was out of Quebec, but what happened is that in fleeing Prince Edward Island, because of these wine aunts, we had to go to a place, and we temporarily set up at my mom's house just to drop some stuff on the way. And it's like just setting up there. The police SWAT teams go after us, and it's like I was able to think ahead. Like it's crazy the amount of precautions and strategy I had to deploy. You shouldn't have to deploy that much strategy to escape illegal state kidnapping in Canada. But I did, and every time I thought of the most extreme strategy, the most extreme tactics, it ended up being correct. Because we were seeing the medical kidnapping teams behind us, finding empty houses. Holy hell, man. And it's amazing that this is all happening at the provincial level. And I wanted to say this earlier. There are some very good people working in the police, particularly the federal forces of the RCMP. I want to say it here. In all this operation of oppression against me, the men of the RCMP, I have been in contact with up to maybe 30 policemen of the RCMP in the last 2 months. And each of them, no matter the situation, no matter how much pressure they were getting from these corrupt agents at the provincial level, each of them has properly respected my rights. Each of them. They were kind and courteous and so much more intelligent, and they understood what was going on. They understood that there was nothing against me, and yet that these people were pursuing me to oppress me as an author. Ah, man, it's unbelievable, just the headache of the shit of seeing my nation turn to like this. And I will never forget the face of my mom as I was leaving Quebec for the last time. And I said goodbye to her forever because I know that I won't be able to go back there. And she looked at me with distress and said, "Get the f*** out of this shithole, JF." And it's incredible that the place where I lived and grew has been taken over by a bunch of rats. Ugly female rats who have no idea what due process is. And to see my mom know that the place where she lives is such a hole, and to see that the place where we thought we were free, that it has become this rat-infested place, is the most heartbreaking thing I've had in my life. And that's not even worse. There are people trying to kill Nick Fuentes. So let's move on to the news. The killer parked his car in front of my house and approached my door with his pistol drawn and what appears to be a crossbow. There is a reason why all of this is getting deployed. I'm not saying this particular shooter is being paid directly as an agent, but some people are paying some people. There's a reason why all these acts of state persecution and private attacks and crimes are all happening at the same time, all in an old gang of friends. Because me, Nick Fuentes, Sticks, Lucas Gage, what is that? That we're friends. We were all together at some point, and we're all part of the same generation of YouTubers. And there is someone who's paying for these doxing campaigns and these psyops that are happening currently on X, and it's becoming dangerous. It's becoming where free thinkers are getting kidnapped or attempted to kidnap, where free thinkers are being are having assassinations attempts against them. It's nonsense. Look at this. This was the killer coming to Nick Fuentes' house yesterday night. Thankfully, Nick Fuentes is not harmed. He has a pistol, he has a crossbow, and he is said to have incendiary devices on him. People are saying that's a woman. I don't know that that it's been identified as a woman. We never know these days. At some point in the other video, he says, "Hey Nick, yo Nick," and he's trying to get the attention to get Nick to get out. Fortunately, Nick have been fearing for his life for a couple of days, and in fact, people, I actually was sharing my fear that Nick Fuentes would be assassinated. Here's the audio of it. Crazy life I've been having in the last 2 days, but there's many threats out there. There's many. I mean, I've been heartbroken. I wanted to contact every public speakers, the Nick Fuentes of this world, and tell them, look, you could have a bomb under your car very soon. The liberals are getting insane during the election, and it's crazy the level of threat. I've seen friends being arrested. I've seen threats that I had to neutralize in trying to be evasive and trying not to reveal my vacation plans. It's insane. I would warn everyone, but I didn't send these emails to even the Nick Fuentes of this world because I'm afraid at the same time that by carrying the threat information, you're also doing a threat yourself. You're kind of enacting the violence of the threat. So somehow I would want to warn everyone during election, it's crazy. People are getting attacked. So I decided to be unattackable with a phone in the So as I was saying, sorry, I was muted. So that's me 2 months ago. Being afraid that someone is going to come to kill Nick Fuentes. And holy shit, it happened yesterday. I had made this prediction on the basis that I was seeing the attacks against me. I was like, this is pretty sophisticated. State teams, corrupt state agents in many governments. There is money. There is money paying for all of this. Someone is making sure that all of these people are motivated at attacking us. And so I was like, if there's money, you never know where the money will flow. Someone has funded basically the harassment of free thinkers that tend to be right-wing. And free thinkers that are all part of the same group of YouTubers, like Styx, Lucas Gage, Nick Fuentes, JF. That's a very small nucleus. So we are under massive threat. And I don't know that the threats are fully neutralized. Personally, I was able to run away and find protection. But it's a matter of time before for now, the local police are very kind and very respecting of due process. They could be replaced, and who knows who will they be replaced by. So a lot of the fleeing that I've done to escape basically ensures that I run away from people who are installing themselves to persecute me. When you stay in the same place, and it's been happening for years that the police, with the whole Mama JF disappearance thing, the police has set up for years my doxing. And they have been increasingly interested at not finding the body of Mama JF, which is their job. But they have been increasingly interested at finding issues with JF's current life. And I had made a tweet about this in April. And made a tweet that I can show you here. Let's try to find it. Where a police agent came and started asking about my private life instead of, before that, the police, the RCMP Major Crimes Division, had been stellar in in the quality of their work. They had been really impressive because I felt that they were truly trying to resolve the disappearance of Mama JF. But I tweeted this in April because some other investigator showed up and she didn't care at all about Mama JF. She cared about my personal life. I said, new female investigator of the Fed's Major Crimes Unit comes to interrogate me about my insemination plans during my vacation. I truly am at the top of the alpha male game because I'm a criminal. Very weird that the Major Crimes Division switched. They were all men up to then. And they were all men and they were DNA. Let's find the body. Let's see where she was. Let's find. They were set on the job. The only job that they should care about, find Mama JF, alive or dead. That was good. But when a woman took over this Major Crimes Unit and came to me and started saying, well, JF, what about your new girlfriend? I knew that trouble was coming. And the police, the RCMP, with their whole publication of this case, they've been apparently, in appearance, it looks like they've been trying to cause a lot of problem in my life. Because it's like from the moment the RCMP published the whole disappearance of Mama JF's story, there started to be doxing campaigns and there started to be people finding my address and putting it on Wikipedia. And it's still standing there. JF lives as a company registered in Western P.E.I. Basically ensuring that anyone who wanted to harass me would have my location. And so it's I'm gonna say it, there's a problem with females and due process. I've seen it firsthand. There is a problem. Females across this nation are lowering the standard for due process. And I have seen beautiful work by police who were able to tell the difference. Policemen have been extremely competent, particularly the RCMP. I would say they didn't know what I was doing, but they have ensured my safety in a way that they don't even understand. Their honoring of due process and of the concept that, yeah, we're not going to treat you like you killed Mama JF because there's no evidence that you did. Just the honoring of my due process rights and the assumption of innocence has led me to have protection from these men at various points of this escapade. And it has been absolutely wonderful to see that in a falling nation where due process is being done by women across governmental agencies and police forces, there are still a bunch of men with pickup trucks that are there to do their actual police job. Naberius has sent $100. Thank you so much, Naberius. And I've seen that you've been generous to me also on Subscribestar. And financially, I'm doing good. I'm thriving now. But let me tell you that, you know, it's not evident to convert Bitcoin rising to escaping the state, especially when they start canceling credit cards and stuff. So it was very crucial for me that you guys continued being generous to me. And Fanatical Socialist sends $140. That is so appreciated. He says, "Rat." Yes, I've seen the level of the sewer level of due process that we can expect now in Canada, and I'm now in the only province left where I can expect some justice. I swear to you that the province I'm in, they were looking at the calls they were receiving from Quebec and Prince Edward Island. They were like, "What the f has this guy done? Why are you guys running after this guy?" And they were like, "Well, we're just running after him, you know. Can you help us catch him?" Catch him for what? He has to have committed a crime if you want us to catch him. It felt such a relief to be in the last place of rationality in Canada. Like, by the way, my new decor contains 3 elements. My new decor contains the pipe of natural gas. Eventually, I'd like to have a flame that that just spouts out of it, just to burn, CO2, just to say to the leftist, everything you pulled against me is gonna come back biting you when the oceans rise and your entire nation gets flooded out of climate change. So there's this natural gas pipeline that I have. I'd love a flame. I'll find a way to make this into a flame, maybe in a digital way, maybe a fake flame, maybe a Minecraft foam flame, maybe. Then I have my moose. The moose is a container that for my keys and wallet that I had bought on Prince Edward Island for $20. It's a beautiful moose and it's giant, and you can put your wallet, you can put your change, and it broke. So these that ran after me, they also led me to break things. I broke one of my screens in the transportation. I broke my moose. I had to restick it. I had to repaint it in metallic copper, but now it is part of my decor. When you move like this on the run and in emergency mode, I mean, at times we were like, we have to leave within 30 minutes. When we were starting to see that they were going to send kidnapping teams onto us, it's like, okay, we have to get out. So the moose has been broken but rebuilt. And I have a plastic tomato and a plastic lettuce for now. I think it's always good to have an element of green and red to pull the full range capacity of your camera. That's one thing I was explaining to Keith Woods. It's all about the range. It's all about the range. Western Kind United sends a super chat. He says, "Greetings, Papa JF. It is good to see you on again." Well, thank you so much, guys, for the generosity. People are reminding themselves in the context where Nick Fuentes has had an assassination attempt on his life. Oh yeah, and Nuke from Persia says, "No more Quebec flag. No more." I literally do not identify as a Quebecois anymore. Having traveled from one end of Canada to the other, I've had the opportunity of looking at my own people from whom I come and say, okay, JF is the cream of that, but it's time to leave them behind because they are a bunch of pigs. Listen, I have felt it, I have seen it. The contrast when you cross into English Canada, back to Quebec, back to English Canada, the police and the way they treat you, their lack of intelligence has been totally shocking to me. The lack of intelligence of the Quebec policemen. Because they were like trying to catch me with their usual techniques. At some point, I drove back into them and I was like, "Hey, I'm here, guys. See, you can arrest me if you want. I'm here." And they started questioning me, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm talking to you guys voluntarily. So why don't you treat me intelligently? Like, I've been for years speaking to police openly, even when lawyers tell you shouldn't do that. I've been taking the risk because I'm a polite guy. And if an English Canadian police comes from the Major Crimes Unit, I'm like, oh yeah, let's tell them about Mama JF and how she was and why she's gone. So I've been very open and I've never had any wrongs with the police. But these stupid policemen of Quebec were treating me like a low-level criminal. They were like, "Here, là, monsieur, là, on veut la vérité." The guy was telling me, there, sir, we expect the truth. It's like, hey, you pig. I'm here voluntarily. If I was going to lie to you, do you think I'd be stupid enough to drive back into you? I'm here voluntarily and you have no right to interview me because I've not committed a crime. And you dare You dare suggest that I would lie to you? That somehow you need to remind me that you need the truth? It's like I was feeling like I was in a bunch of apes, just people who have taken over my nation. This was all happening in my hometown, you know. I can't believe that I was free in that hometown as a child. The forests were there. They've totally abolished the forest. They replaced it with police stations and grocery stores and parkings and policemen. And at this point, I am not Quebecois anymore. First, I could not even step back onto the territory of Quebec. I have already said adios to my mother, that I would never see her again. So, yeah, identifying as a Quebecois has no more function for me. Let him be destroyed in the replies section. People are reminding themselves of the mistreatment of Nick Fuentes, that in a way has started with Elon Musk. Elon Musk delaying his unbanning. Elon Musk unbanning everyone. But Nick Fuentes. And then when the pressure started building against Elon Musk, he said, okay, I'm going to unban him, but let him be crushed in the comment section, suggesting that somehow, putting light over the arguments of Nick Fuentes would lead him to be completely ashamed. But the left doesn't have arguments. I don't know. Elon here has a lack of appreciation of the amount of validity in the Nick Fuentes argument. And so we're down to it. We're down to the point where the left sends its assassins rather than argue with Nick Fuentes on Twitter, because we all knew this from 2016. The left can't handle an argument. So here we also have, simultaneously to all these news items, we also have the release of the body cam where the police has been called at the time where Nick Fuentes sprayed this woman in the eye with a pepper spray and pushed her. Now, this case, suddenly with the attempted assassination of Nick Fuentes, this case suddenly turns to the advantage of Nick Fuentes. Because now you have, hey, Papa JF had said on October 6th, Nick Fuentes, you may be about to die. You may be about to be targeted with assassination. You have Nick Fuentes himself had perceived a threat to his life. And he was correct. It wasn't paranoia. It wasn't exaggeration. There was an actual imminent threat of harm on Nick Fuentes. And we know, we can know this as public personalities. We know that when there's noise, when there's 5 wine aunts on your lawn, there's an assassin not so far. I don't know exactly what's the mechanism. Do the wine aunts hang out with the assassin, or is it just a correlation? Is it a correlation or is it a causation? But when you have 5 wine aunts concerned about you, you're about to get killed also for some reason. We feel these things as East celebs.
She's white. I mean, yes. Yeah, she's just right out there. I tried to get her to come with me. Do you have an ID just so I could get information real quick?
So that was the story where this is kind of the friend of the pepper sprayed woman who pushed her to, hey, why don't you go knock at his door? So what we learned from this encounter with the police is there's basically an admission that they were there to kind of annoy Nick Fuentes. Like, they won't say these words. They won't say these words, but I think it is absolutely legitimate for a jury to hear what she says there and say, okay, she was there to cause trouble to a public thinker. And from there, Nick Fuentes had a reason to be afraid for his life, because we know how it works, e celebs. The wine aunt films your house, and then the assassin comes later. That's exactly what happened. Nick Fuentes was correct. The wine aunt is a threat to his life, not in the way you might think. Not because the wine aunt will just get a minigun out and start. But the wine aunt, with her screams of victimization, she attracts the feminine leftist gay assassin. Rodela says, but JF, it seems like at least this time when Nick called the cops, they came quickly. So possibly the police were already on high alert and patrolling the area. But it doesn't matter if they were there or not. What matters is the state of belief of Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes had called the police 1 hour earlier. He was disappointed because the police didn't go they didn't go ask something to the wine aunts. They literally drove by, saw that there was nothing, saw that the wine aunts were calm in their car. It's like, if they hadn't been wine aunts, if they had been a guy with a relatively aggressive look, you would have went there, you would have questioned him. So what is this wine aunt privilege? Why are these, these wine aunts with all these stickers on here? We believe in science. In this house, we think that love is love. In this house, we are vaccinated. They have these stickers that say all these things. That's exactly how the woman looks like. Look. I'm trying to fast forward to the place where we can see this woman. She has the literal liberal stickers all over her. And look at this.
Okay.
Did you hear them? You're going to check your eyes.
Look at the amount of stickers. Each of these stickers is a leftist belief. Each of these stickers is telling you a little more about her sex life. Like, this is where you learn that she's a lesbian. I guess this is where you learn that she's also asexual. This is where you learn that she's vaccinated. Like, woman, we don't need that much information about you. I am that guy says, what happened to the would-be assassin? Did they get Swiss cheesed? Yeah, so the would-be assassin knocking at the door of Nick Fuentes ran away. The police came in, ran away, went into a home, killed 2 dogs. As Nick Fuentes points out, it's dramatic that 2 dogs had to die. Now, this would-be assassin had just killed 3 people. So we're not talking about a paranoia or we're uncertain what would have happened to Nick. If Nick opened that door, he would be dead. Absolutely certain. No question. Now, can you imagine if Nick didn't have cameras, he would be dead. If Nick opened that door thinking, I'm going to pepper spray another leftist, he would be dead. Because there were already 3 deaths from this guy that he had committed, I believe, yesterday, the day before. So the day after, he goes to Nick Fuentes with the intent to kill him. He killed 2 dogs instead as he was running away from the police. And the police eventually shot him and he's dead. This is what we're learning today. Nick Fuentes reports an armed attacker attempted to kill him at his home. The assailant, armed with a pistol, crossbow, and incendiary devices, is now dead. Nick Fuentes is unharmed. Pretty badass picture of Nick Fuentes. Here you have the whole story told by the police that I just talked about. For a report of a male subject with a gun, responding officers located subject who then fled on foot and successfully escaped from police officers. The subject then forced entry into a residence on the 1800 block of Winona Avenue. So basically, my understanding is somehow very close to Nick Fuentes' home, if not connected to Nick Fuentes' home, maybe a neighbor. he killed the neighbor dogs, where he fatally shot 2 dogs. Officers then observed the offender fleeing eastbound into a yard. The subject disobeyed the officer's verbal commands to stop and proceeded to shoot at police officers. Police officers returned fire and fatally struck the subject. No officers were injured during the incident. End of the line. Joel says, "You're my choice." Is this some sort of necrophilia thing? And meanwhile, while I was out of my show, but I was away from the internet, so much has happened. We had kind of a killer hero of the left rise in Luigi Mangione, the Italian man who I've analyzed in writing already his case. I think it's now old news, so I won't go into the details, but somehow a man who has attracted the love of wine aunts across the country, and just because he killed a healthcare CEO. I don't think he has any mental disorder. I think he was just an ideological guy. It's fascinating, as Nick Fuentes was pointing out, and I was pointing out too in a tweet. These guys are writing manifestos that suck. They're writing manifestos and they're like, "Oh yeah, you should go see other people to see the correct argument. I'm not the best person to make the argument." So it's fascinating. These shooters, they identify as doers. They know that they are better thinkers than them, and it's not the first time I see this in a shooting manifesto. Georgia Court of Appeal disqualifies Fani Willis from prosecuting Trump in the election case. That is a big victory for Trump. She is disqualified for lack of jurisdiction, that she has no authority to proceed. That's a big victory because, and it's kind of related to my own issues. These local places that have these local liberal prosecutors or local liberal whatever, they go after you, and they're starting more and more to do like New York, where they kind of set the tone for a kind of national law. But New York shouldn't be able to prosecute for people doing things outside of New York. Jurisdictional limits are extremely important in a country that is falling, the country that's taken over by corrupt forces and female prosecutors that don't care about true justice. They just want to get revenge. And it's a very important decision because we have to limit the power of local authorities. That's what we have to do. Because local authorities can be bought for, they can be corrupted, or there can just be a person, so sometimes a woman, who happens to be vengeful, who takes the position, and now she can go after Trump for a national concern, which is the election. But she's going at it from a state perspective. What else do we have in the news? Luigi Mangione was arriving in court. Here we can see his transportation to the court. Already has this this kind of righteous, I would say righteous person under the actual impression that he's the victim of injustice. He yelled something. He yelled something about people's lived experience, and it's kind of ridiculous how. What does lived experience has to do with the fact that you committed a murder, so you're being arrested? And I think that what he's trying to appeal to is this leftist conception that You know, from our perspective, capitalism is oppressing us. Capitalism is attacking us. And so killing a healthcare CEO is self-defense. I think it's what he's trying to get into the population. Silver Spider says, one has to wonder if they went after JF because he realized Trump sold out. That is definitely a valid hypothesis. Because let's be clear, supporting Trump in 2016 was a basis for cancellation. But Trump is now fully within the system, and he's been supported by, and the side took the side of Trump. So at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the funds that led to the persecution of various thinkers were funds that were taking issue with a lack of support for Trump. Colonel J sends a super chat. He says, welcome back, Papa. Well, thank you so much for your generosity tonight. It's going to help me set myself back up in this new studio, new land, new house. But it's so sad because I get to lose my greenhouse that I had built. Now, it's good because I sold the house at profit. So it's like all the work that I had invested in the house ended up paying off because we sold it much higher than what we had bought for it. And we rebought a house that we bought at low price. So the whole operation of fleeing the corrupt provincial states of Canada has been actually beneficial to me, and it's wonderful, but it's very testing mentally to have to abandon a life within 30 minutes because suddenly your rights are being attacked. It's not a funny thing to do at all, but financially it went outstanding. Stephen Robinson says, Jeff, what do you think of the plasmoids above New Jersey? Well, I've said it on Twitter. It's like, stop annoying me with these drones. New Jersey probably is populated by drones. They don't understand that drones will be everywhere. Like, China is pulling these sky shows. They are so much more complex than what's happening in New Jersey. So there's evidently someone has drones and they're flying them over New Jersey. All right, let's all relax. Let's all relax. There was this wonderful interview with this guy. Here he's commenting with Tucker on the nomination of Tulsi Gabbard, which is it's interesting what Tulsi will do because she's a principled woman who's been against the deep state to the point of being very viciously attacked by Hillary Clinton. So it's very interesting that I'm not saying that I have much confidence in Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know. But I know that Hillary Clinton hates her. And just for this, the fact that we're going to have a director of national intelligence that is hated by Hillary Clinton, that is good. And this guy in general has been bringing the to Tucker. And it's interesting because it is a mainstreaming of talking points that we've been making for a decade now. It's interesting to see people approaching Tucker with it. They go soft on him, but clearly it was saying there is an issue with of American politics. Lendalt Guntram says you need to be careful around Jeff Sachs. He does have a bunch of legit points. However, he himself is a globalist UN type player. Yeah, I would agree. I don't know the guy very much, but I would agree that there's always something weird when these mainstream personalities start touching upon our talking points. Not that I don't want to be, not that I'm complaining about it being theft, because it's good when these ideas spread out. But sometimes they do so for the purpose of gatekeeping. Sometimes they will acknowledge a point made by their opposition so that they can attract the eyes in their direction, and then they can divert your attention away from the problem. But it's encouraging no matter what. Michael Saylor has entered the Nasdaq 100 with MSTR. I sold my Bitcoin and I don't regret it because I sold at the peak. I think I might go back. I might go back in. Looking at it, 97,000 right now. I don't know. Is it wise to go back at 90K, at 80K? But in any case, I have felt the top at 107,000, and I've been out of crypto since. And we'll see. I'm still confident on crypto long term, but I think we touched a price that created a lot of nervousness toward the low. Animus Uprising sends a super chat. He says, maybe you can comment on Trump's cabinet later. It all seems to be lacking of real reform. Obviously, all and what happened to Gates sucked. I don't have hope for Elon or Vivek, to be honest. I didn't even know that the Gates nomination, has it been cancelled? Because that was the only hope that I had from these cabinet picks. Gates was my only enthusiastic pick. But you're absolutely correct. Elon and Vivek will not be able to do much because the efficiency of the government relies on changing the legal context. We really have to stop throwing money at these departments. We have to cut off the money flow. And if you don't do this, no matter how efficient you may, it's like, Elon and Vivek are going to SWAT into a government building and say, oh yeah, this secretary, you're going to do this instead. And that will not lower the expenses of the government. The expenses of the government can only be lowered by one thing. It's the voice of the politicians in the House and the Senate, period. Now, we've had some encouraging things, like Elon has been pushing for a shutdown. It seems like it might be happening. But again, shutdowns, you keep paying the employees. Tom's Wheelhouse says, why would Mama JF not just give a sign of life instead of putting you through all this? Makes no sense. Maybe Mama JF is dead, or maybe... Personally, I'm fine with her not showing signs of life if she wants to hide. Now, I would say I don't... It's not the fault of Mama JF that the system is sick. I would say this. Because this whole system, persecution, is all going after me because in the end, they're pissed. They're pissed that I had a separation on good terms with Mama JF. That's what it is. In the end, they're like, she should have went that in. She should have gotten this and that. They are really, really pissed that me and Mama JF are on good terms. I don't know where she is, but she has left me and went on to do whatever she wanted to do. And they're like, we're going to punish him because we can't find him guilty of her murder. Because, of course, I haven't murdered Mama JF. But we're very pissed that he didn't get somehow divorced by her. Like, when you think about it, and I know your judgment can be harsh of Mama JF. She has abandoned me. Okay. That's kind of a breach to me, but you have to give it to Mama JF. Look at what she has done as a performance art thing, and it's kind of beautiful. Mama JF has left a male to care for her family, and has left me with everything I needed, and has left us peacefully and willfully. And now we see what society will... Now we see what society will... they will go after you even if Mama JF is not there to make false allegations against me. So in a way, society is telling you, if your ex is making allegations about you, we will believe her. If your ex disappears and there's no allegations about you, we will invent the allegations. So you're always always the male guilty, even if no evidence is available, even when the woman is not even there to speak ill of you. They will find a wine aunt on the street that will be alarmed at your truck, your trash truck. Tom's wheelhouse says you'd have to be a super psycho to abandon your family. I mean, whatever. Whatever, she has decided to go, and that was not harmful to me. I have decided that we were on good terms. Says, I think Mama is buried under a new concrete project. That's a possibility. Maybe she's contributing to the support structure of a parking lot somewhere. A Silver Spider says, we didn't want to tell you when you were with her, JF. But we all thought she was a little odd. Yeah, I mean, don't you think as a psychologist and a man with postdoctoral experience in neuropsychology, don't you think I can see the oddness of Mama JF? I chose to be with an odd mind, and I chose to be able to handle the consequences of that choice. The consequences to me have been generally happy. I have a family. We are on good terms. She didn't try to divorce me. So I'm not going to complain because she's odd. She's odd in a very good way. She's odd in the way that she didn't make false allegations against me. Sure, I'll take that. No. Then there's the Dr. He is starting to acquire some public coverage saying gene editing in human embryo is safe to proceed now. Not until you read the revolutionary phenotype. As long as people cannot tell me how you are avoiding a phenotypic revolution, these claims of safety are absolute trash, and we should totally debunk them. All right. What else do we have? Well, I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, while I was gone, there was the advancement of Israel into Syria. Okay, Israel is on their expansion project, so be it. And there's also the new shooter now that Luigi Mangione is becoming so passé. We have Samantha Rupnow, who is said to have been a fan of Red Femme. So it was a woman shooter. We don't often have woman shooter. So for the first time, we are able to kind of quantify just how many people does a woman shooter kill. In this case, it's 2 people. So I would say a woman shooter is kind of where an average is. 2 people killed. She was pissed at the world. She was saying she was a BAP acolyte. So an acolyte of all these Twitter accounts by Brown's Edge perverts and friends. Okay, bizarre bunch. A bizarre bunch. These people are kind of trying to charm a right-wing audience. At the same time, they appear to be engaged in lots of gym and stuff. Like literally just gym bros just each other in the ass. It's weird. It's very weird, this Bronze Age pervert thing. So she was pissed at the world. She was saying, I will never be like you guys. I will never be like normal people. She had all sorts of hate against everyone. And she killed a teacher and a student in her own school. And then she died. Chronic Boom sends 15 LBC. She says, IJF, is bacterial conjugation a form of group selection? Bacterial conjugation, if I remember correctly, is the transfer of genes. Is the transfer of genetic material between bacterial cells by direct cell-to-cell contact or by a bridge-like connection between 2 cells. So basically, yeah, we did an experiment on this when I was an undergrad. my biology classes. So basically, you had a bunch of bacteria. Some of them are resistant against your antibiotic. Some of them aren't. So you put the antibiotic, it kills the bacteria that are too weak, but the bacteria that have the gene of resistance, they survive. Now you take those bacteria that have the genes of resistance, you put them alongside other bacteria, and they start sharing the gene. They start putting the gene out, and the gene copies itself to the new bacteria. And now a bacteria that has never been exposed to the pharmaceutical product you use has a resistance to it by this kind of cultural sharing of genes that happens in bacteria. The answer to your question, Chronic Boom, is no, it is not group selection. The gene in the bacteria can be seen as a virus. The goal of this virus is to survive and transmit itself to the other bacteria. As long as the gene succeeds at doing so without killing its host bacteria too quick, then it's just a successful virus. So bacterial conjugation, in my view of the selfish gene and the revolutionary phenotype, qualifies as viruses. Now, they are not looking like viruses. They don't have this little capsule. They don't look like, they're really just naked genes. But they are the smallest form, in my view, of a selfish gene, which is they're trying to get their host to survive until they can transmit themselves to another host, and they will try to get that new host to survive too. So it's just beneficiary viruses. That is the way you have to look at bacterial conjugation. It doesn't qualify as group selection. She says bacterial resistance plasmid is then similar to mitochondria. It's similar in the sense that it's a symbiotic organism. Yes, absolutely. Now it's different because the mitochondria will never insert its genes into the genome. Although I may be wrong on this. There is some mitochondrial to genome exchange. So yes, it's ultimately a symbiotic relationship between two organisms. But in this case, the organism penetrates the genome of the other and inserts itself into it. But see, reverse transcriptase virus do that also. They will be in a stage of RNA. They will copy themselves to DNA and get into your genome. So it has all of the feature of a virus. I am that guy, says Jeff. Did you see Dan Crenshaw having a meltdown on X? It was pretty funny. I've seen some of it. Didn't pay much attention to it because honestly, I do not care about Dan Crenshaw. I know where he stands on everything. Yeah, he was saying stuff around he was saying, I have the balls to lead the wars. You don't. It's like, bro, you lead wars as a. It's like you are the of the military space. You lead wars for. Doubting Thomas says, Jeff, by your framing of resistance genes being a virus, by that logic, it seems you can have any mutation genes as viruses. Well, the difference is in the case I was talking about, these genes are finding a way to exit the genome where they are born, copy themselves to other bacteria. Now, if your mutations were to do this, yes. The mutations were to transmit themselves, reproduce, replicate, then yes. Swala Megu sends a super chat saying, looking forward to your MY appearance, JF. Make sure you come prepared for idiotic trolls with Mama JF conspiracies. They are already polluting the other streams. Trolls, I can deal with this. I have dealt with these trolls all my life. Let me tell you. All right, guys, that is it. Now, start being excited because I'm about to drop the new outro music, which is a remake of the old TPS, the public space music it will be awesome with this outro music to conclude the show with some major statement, and then